Welcome to ESB Outspoken with Angela and Richard Schelp. And today we have really good news, and we are going to be discussing the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes, the light at the end of the tunnel is a fabulous thought, isn't it? For months, now 12 months almost, there was pure darkness at the end of the tunnel. And now the light is shining. And there's so many positive things. First of all, I guess it would be great for us to start out by talking about a couple of things that we've heard in the news.
Yes,
you rarely
definitely
hear good news on the news, right?
But we've heard some great things from some of our speakers that have been on the news.
Absolutely. Two noted experts. I'm not going to mention their names so they don't get, fan mail or hate mail or whatever. But they have come on saying that the reason why we have reduced number of cases from COVID-19 right now is because we actually have had so many people have the illness that we're starting to reach herd immunity. And that is huge. They don't believe the case count's going to go back up. They think it's going to continue to go down. That is nothing but positive, and that actually puts the time clock maybe earlier than what people were thinking as far as being able to do in-person events, all that kind of wonderful, happy stuff. So that is huge, isn't it?
We're so excited. It's always good to get good news.
It is always good to get good news. It is. It absolutely is. So let's talk about that for a second. I mean, what do you feel, Ange, has the great impact? Now the case count's coming down. People are starting to think about it. What does that mean overall for our clients that may be listening today to do with the meetings?
Okay, just like we talked about earlier, I mean, you have an in-person event today. I've got one tomorrow. Mine's in Florida, and yours is, where's yours?
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and we're starting to see more of these in-person events. This originally was scheduled, I was supposed to be in California, but you know what they did instead of canceling? They picked up, moved the entire event to Florida where they could have it. So we're excited about it. Speakers excited to go. So I think it's going to be a wonderful event. It's going to be a little bit smaller of a crowd, which we're seeing in the trends as well. But and then they're going to stream it live to the people that can't attend. So I think we're starting to see more of these come through, and it's very exciting.
Oh, it's fabulously exciting. But the thing to keep in mind, too, for everybody is speakers have been willing to travel for quite some time.
Right.
Now, celebrity speakers are a little more careful.
Right. Celebrity speakers, the sports figures, of course, they're a lot more limited because of their contracts. They have to be more careful. So they're really being, cautious to stay in and follow more of the COVID protocols.
And when you're in a movie, a sniffle and a cough is not that attractive. I know that as well.
You can't have that.
Can't have that.
No, and we're not saying that virtual meetings are still just, going strong, and we are, we have really taken that world by storm, and it's been exciting. But we are thrilled that we're seeing more of the in-person come back.
No, I think that's absolutely fabulous. And what's interesting are some of the things that we found in Meetings Magazine.
Right. So the new copy came out, and there's some really good information in here. They did a survey, and this survey was done even a month or so ago when the numbers were still high. So it's amazing that this is as positive as it is. So. And some of the things that we found in the magazine is 83% of the people interviewed for this said that they plan to have their in-person meetings this year. So a lot of those are third and fourth quarter, but there are some second quarter and even some, like we mentioned, happening now. So I think that is really positive news that we're seeing that much of a trend to have meetings this year.
It definitely is, because, one of the things that we've been talking about before is that a lot of people have adopted virtual events, and they feel like virtual events are a good thing to have, but there's a segment that's out there amongst the clients, a percentage, mind you, that's out there that are actually saying that they're not that comfortable with doing their big conventions, their multi-day conferences virtually. But this is showing them that, hey, those people are now seeing that they can do their conventions coming up. And so that means less canceling, postponing of events, which does create a lot of work for everybody in our industry when that happens.
Exactly.
Whether it's hotels, us, the clients themselves, food preparers, etc.
And if you don't have this magazine, I would go get it. There is some great information in here on venues that have completely redone the way they're set up. They're taking their huge ballrooms, and you think about it, if you've got a ballroom that could sit, 1,000 people before, 500 people, that is so easy to spread chairs out and make it 6 feet apart for everybody, COVID friendly, so that you can even put 100 people in there and still be safe. So there's all kinds of things that we're seeing. We're seeing, sofa sections, for big, some of these big lobbies, they're doing spread out sofa sections or the big chairs, that are far enough apart where you can still sit in a group and talk, but you are spread out enough to where it's safe.
Well, I think it's become a real thing. Now you actually have meetings that are done that way. I mean, for a while there, everybody was thinking, well, how are we going to do this?
Right.
What are we going to do? How do we handle all the safety protocols? How do we keep people far enough away from each other? How do we still have an effective meeting in these circumstances? But the things that you're talking about doing, and also you and I have discussed, there's organizations out there that provide the overall COVID-19 protective services.
Right, and you can just hire. You can hire the company. Was it Health Pass that does that?
Yeah.
But you hire them, and they will come in and do everything for you, from the COVID testing. You'll get the rapid test back. They'll do the temperature checks, the questionnaires. They'll do everything for you, so that when you show up and your attendees get there, you're prepared.
And they'll roll you out the door if you have COVID.
That's right.
So, I mean, all those things absolutely are getting taken care of, but they're doing that so you can concentrate on the meeting itself, and it becomes a real meeting, a real event. And that's what I think all these people were worried about. Yes. What are we going to do? Have everybody with hazmat suits on, floating around, nobody communicates with each other? No, we're doing...
Some of the things she come up with. Anyway, okay, so back to reality. But, we're seeing a lot of these places have outdoor meeting facilities, and as much stress as people have been under and they're ready to get out of their homes, how fun to all of a sudden go out to Colorado or go, to Florida or somewhere there's a big outdoor facility for your meeting, and then you can just enjoy that outdoor space.
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. It's making... lemonade out of lemons kind of deal.
Yes.
And I think that's what we've had to learn throughout this pandemic is you continually adjust to what your situations are, and you make it the best that you possibly can.
Right.
So there's no doubt about it. I mean, some of the other things that we've seen in the magazine, which I think are fabulous, is people are going to continue on with their events. More events are going to be in person, but the great news for those of you who are enjoying virtual or getting used to virtual, it's not going away. It is still going to be a big part of what's going on.
Definitely.
And even with all the plans, 83% of people saying they're going to do an in-person event by the end of the year, 63% of those people are saying their event's going to be a hybrid.
Right.
So that means there's virtual even in their in-person. And I think that's going to be the case. They'll carry on way beyond 2021. It'll be into 2025.
I think it'll go on forever, because I think people have seen the benefits of, if you've got if you wanted to invite your entire company to this event, well, you can't take everybody out at once. It's when we've talked about this many times, but this allows you to stream it so they can watch it on their computers at their desk while they're holding down the fort at the office, and the other part is at the meeting.
Well, and you and I have attended association events before, and when we've done those attendances, it's been us two going, or maybe three people from our office. But when you can do things virtually, and a lot of the virtual presentations that we've seen, we've had almost every member of our office participate.
Right.
That's a big difference. That means a lot more people.
And they're getting that education that they didn't get before. Yeah. So it's really cool.
And think about it. You might have had 700 or 800 attendees in the past. Now you might have 1,500 to 2,000 attendees because you add the virtual into that piece.
That's right.
But I also think one of the key things too that was in there that goes along the lines with the adjustment that's being made within the whole reconfiguration of the site, so to speak, is that these in-person meetings are leveraging smaller. There's a lot higher percentage, around 40% or so, that are going to have 100 or less people in those events. So these events will become smaller events, even though they're in person, but the overall attendance will be more.
That's right. And you think about it, going back to the very large convention centers, you can utilize so their meeting space. So you can have, 6, 7, 8 rooms of 100 people. So you can, even though it's smaller, you can still have quite a few people in that facility.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, there's one other thing that I think we should talk about too that has to do with this overall approach and the light at the end of the tunnel, is that now workers are going to be headed back to the office. Not everybody's going to be remote anymore. There'll still be some people remote, but there's going to be a lot more workers coming back.
Yes.
And we see that. And a lot of that, even there's experts, consultants, and speakers who talk about that a little
That's
bit.
That's right. Dr. Ann Ramoyne out of California is doing a lot of consulting right now for clients, because as they're bringing employees back, you're going to have some people that are still afraid and they're fearful to come back, even if they get the vaccine. Then you've got the people who don't want the vaccine. And then what do you do about them? So there's so many things that go into this. And so we're seeing consultants, speakers that are turning into the consulting side, because they've got to really go in and help these companies figure out how to safely bring everybody back. But at least we're having those conversations now, and we're helping people figure that out. And it's fun to kind of work through these things to see how to help companies come back safely and get things back to some type of normalcy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I, you look at all that, but you start to see the pieces coming together like a puzzle.
Right.
First there's people saying, hey, we may be doing some in-person stuff. Now we're going to do it the new way. We're going to have people socially distance. We're going to have people wearing masks part of the time. We're going to have big ballrooms with fewer amount of people. Okay, now we're going to start talking about bringing people back to the office so they can be around each other again. So it's all positive. Everything's good. I really like where we're at. You and I have always loved the virtual thing. Right. And we will continue to love the virtual thing.
Well, and we love the creativity part of how to make things work. It's been fun working through some of these events. We help people try to figure out how to make their events work. So that's fun. All the way down to talking about, if you've got a large convention center that has the restaurants and everything in one facility, then you don't have people going out all over town bringing germs back. Everybody's in the same building. And so, just working through things like that. It's fun to kind of talk through it and help our clients figure out a safe way to get back to work.
But it's fabulous. And so for those of you guys who are watching the wrong news or thinking negative, we have so much positive to be thankful for right now. And for all of us who are expecting 2021 to be a better year, it's already been a better year. It's been a great year so far, and it's going to just get better every year. Guys, we lived through 2020. We know how to be tough, and now we're solving problems. So here we are. We've reached the light at the end of the tunnel.
And excited about it.
Absolutely. And you be outspoken.